What up, though, Pride Nation? Welcome back to another field review podcast show. Um, I'm I'm doing this show with a bit of a heavy heart. So do bear with me. So this past weekend, my brother passed away, and I wanted to do a show that would still keep what me and him both love doing moving, and just the movement of football in general. You know, this is a bit of a distraction. Okay. Um, give me a moment. Give me a second. All right. So again, like I said, I'm doing the show with a bit of a heavy heart. So I'm still talking football because football is a joy. It's a good way to have a distraction. It was something that he and I both enjoyed, and that we connected over. It was very unexpected, and so the original plan was to have a show today doing film study. And so that was the original plan. The original plan was to have a show doing film study. And as I was recording those videos, I got the phone call that he passed. And so I'm thinking, because I have a lot of people in my family who joke too damn much, I'm thinking they're joking. I'm thinking that it's a joke. It has to be. And so one thing about my brother is he would listen to every show. Every show. And we would talk about it. And we would argue about every damn show. He thought I was crazy. But I told myself that even though I won't do no film study, I'm going to still talk Lions. Because I know that 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, he's listening. And so to my brother who has passed, I'm going to miss you. So I'm going to put a show on today. I'm going to have fun doing it. I'm going to treat it. I'm going to treat it like when I get off of this thing, he going to call me up, tell me how crazy I am. And I'm going to have fun with this today. So I do apologize. I don't got no film study today. But there is some news in the media going on. I just want to let y'all know I appreciate the support. And the well wishes and the prayers. Because I didn't want to do it today. I ain't really feel like doing no video. But I know he would have been listening. So I'm doing it. And I think I'm going to start this off with an article. A very particular article that came out that really caught my attention. And it was about the Lions having one of the smartest off seasons in the league. One of the smartest. And it's funny because me and my brother, he would argue that this is the greatest offseason he ever seen. And he always would talk about how, the Lions always find a way to get the player to put butts in the seat. And that this is one of those times where we as a fan base did not get the player that puts butts in the seat. We did not we didn't go out and sign the big name free agent. We didn't go out and give a stupid contract to somebody. We just simply said we're going to find players, and we're going to find players that want to be here, that want to play, that have something to prove, that have something to learn. And in this particular article, it talks about why what they did is smart, why the singular year contracts were huge. And my bad, people. It talks about why they see this, and it's gaining steam in the national media. And it's funny because I know for the longest I've been saying that we have quietly been having one of the better off seasons. It's one of those off seasons that we look at where 100% you have to respect what the Lions are doing. If your belief is that the Lions are going to suck, then there's no reason to take a quarterback. If your belief is that the Lions are going to be successful, there's no reason to draft a receiver or draft a quarterback. You have to look at this in a different light. And in this particular article, he outlines the things that make the sense. He calls it, not only is he calling it a successful offseason, he's calling it the most logical and smartest offseason in the league. And he says that he knows that there's a lot of people who is not going to agree with that. He's well aware of it. So if you're just joining me, I had announced that this past weekend that my brother passed away. And I did not really feel like doing a video. But because he listened to every damn show I did, just so we can argue about it, I said to myself, all right, well, I'm finna go put another show on for you. We'll argue about it later. So I decided to do the show anyway. The original plan was today was to have a whole film study of draft prospects. But I'm going to put this show on. So y'all just excuse me, okay? So he's drawing this out. And so when talking about the logic and what they're doing, some people say it's a rebuild. I personally call it a renovation. One of the biggest things that my brother and I will argue about, that term retool versus renovation. And we would go back and forth over and over because he was like, it's a rebuild. I'm like, it's a renovation. It's a rebuild. It's a renovation. We're making improvements. In order for you to rebuild something, it had to be built well already and broken down. You show me where we were built well. And he was like, well, we built well in these spots right here, but we had to tear this part down. Nah, it's not going to work. But this national media press, the national media press is starting to see the logical moves and talk about the Detroit Lions. They're praising the Detroit Lions general manager for making sound moves. You have a player in Matthew Stafford who requests a trade. And what do? You find a way to just simply get the most amazing trade possible. The most amazing trade possible. With all the offers you had out there, some are offers that you may look and say, oh, I would have took that, and some are laughable like the Denver Broncos, but you pulled it off. You turn around, you add more talent with people who, in all honesty, probably would be number 2s or number 3s on some teams. Right? But the reality is that this team is finally doing it the right way. Even you as a Lions, if you're a Lions hater, you just hate them, you hate the force, you hate what's going on, even you have to acknowledge that this don't look the same, that these moves seem more sensible. There's something different about it. You know, there's something different about it. And if you're looking at it, it starts with the one move that you asked for, which was to get somebody that was a football person to help make football decisions. It started with that move of bringing in Chris Spielman. That was the start point. You go out, you get Brad Holmes. You go out, you get a head coach that nobody had us pegged to get, and all he did was assemble one of the more better coaching staff we have seen in Detroit history. Some people believe that we won't win no more than 5 games. Some people believe that we will win more than 5 games. But what I can tell you is this team in particular has done things in a way that is just different. It has done things in a way that is 100% on another level. Okay? And the media is starting to see it, which is scary because I'm not used to the media seeing it. Okay? It's just ridiculous. But we see what's going on. We understand what's going on. And our Lions are finally getting recognition. They're finally getting an opportunity to be acknowledged. Now, this same article does talk about how this season is somewhat could be considered a wash. I kind of view it in that way. I just think we still gonna win games. Now, as I sit up here, I was listening to 97.1 The Ticket for a few minutes because I was instructed by a subscriber to do so. They were talking about why the Lions need to sensibly lose this season. And I said, here we go with this rhetoric. Now, this is one of the things me and my brother to argue about because he liked the 97.1 The Ticket, and he thought that Mike Valenti was just being real. I told him, you have got to be absolutely out of your damn mind. Being real is not what he is doing. There are agendas being pushed, and it should not be that way. And so I wanted to kind of take it into a way where if you just take the emotional part out, take out that part of it, ask yourself about this offseason. What can you really hate? If you say that you hate the fact that we don't have any big name players, so what? Look at every season where we signed big name players. It never led to anything. There's a different feel here. He talks about how the head coach, Dan Campbell, was able to he talks about how Dan Campbell was able to amass this coaching staff and already change the coach overnight. And here I am arguing with my brother and people in the chat, other Pride Nation members, people in my DSA family, about it don't take that long to change a culture. It just don't. And we realize now that the media sees this. And the best part about it is they see it with the idea that we ain't going to be winning. I disagree with that premise, but I also understand something else. And so what they talk about is if he brought this up too, that if the Lions are sitting there and one of them quarterbacks fall to them, they need to take it. Now that's where I disagree with them at. Because to me, I wouldn't take no quarterback there. You have an opportunity to do it, which brings me to the next article that I read. Another one that I think made a perfectly good point about what should be the Lions' approach. What should be their approach? What should they look at? And they asked a question that was simply just 100%, which is if you're sitting up there and Trey Lance or Fields is sitting there, and also Penny Sewell sitting there, what do you do? And so my brother would say, take the damn receiver. Typical Lion fan, take the receiver. And I'm like, you got to take the lineman. You have to take the lineman based on history. Right? Now, I have said this many times. There's only one quarterback. There's only one quarterback that I think the Lions will pull the trigger on no matter what. And I don't think he's going to fall to us. There's only one. And I think that one person is Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson don't fall to us, we ain't taking no quarterback. Right? Now, keep in mind that these teams are looking at a lot of the same things the Lions is looking at because they need offensive tackle help. I'm telling you, I went through and I counted. In the first round alone, there are at least 5 teams that need an offensive tackle. And if you allow 2 or 3 of them to get past the Lions, you're going to have to pick an offensive lineman in a later round at a position you don't need. I'm not even interested in taking a guard at this point because taking a guard at this point don't fix the problem that I saw at that right tackle spot. When we had a good guard plan, we had Rick Wagner, and it still didn't work out. You get somebody who can change that for you, everything will change. And to me, these articles are starting to get it. I don't know if they listening to me or they listening to the Detroit YouTube community. What the hell they doing? But they're starting to get it. They're starting to understand that the way that this thing needs to be built and how we need to approach it is going to be different. And the best part is this. The Lions are in prime position to do so. Just prime. There is no other position you want them to be in at this point. But I did want to share something with you because I believe that there is some truth in what this shows. And I also believe that even though this was not written, and I'm going to go back. It was written in 2015. It still holds true today. An article that was written in 2015 still holds true today. And the reason I know that is because I went back and I looked. So let me do my little screen share. Because like I said, I'm going to put this show on and I'm going to do my best to have fun with it. Okay? So let me get this right here. Let me see where we at. Let me see. Hold on one moment, people. Again, I apologize. Bear with me. Let me just get this thing going right here. All right, people. So we've had these conversations before. We've had the talks about what the Lions should and should not do. We've had these talks. We've had this and we've been there. I've always said that I believe that the Lions' number one priority was to trade back. I honestly said that. I really believe that there's no way in hell we're going to be picking at 7. But I've always said that if they are stuck at 7, this is what they should do and what I believe that they will do. If you just look at this offseason and look at the sensible things that they have done, you will see that there's some logic to this. All right. So let's get it. This right here is an article that was written in 2015. And I am a big believer in history being truthful. Most people laugh at me because I say I don't care about Pro Bowls. Tell me how many All-Pros they have. That's a little bit different. See, Pro Bowl, you can get enough fans to put you in there. All-Pros is a little bit different. The Detroit Lions have not really done good in that market. But let's talk about it. This right here is the All-Pro rate among the first-round picks 25-year sample. 25-year sample. Now, if you wonder where this article comes from, it's right there. Which positions are the safest, riskiest at the top of the NFL draft? This is in 2015. I want y'all to understand this. He literally says that he did his study from 1986 to 2010. Now, clearly, we got another 10 years in past it, and I've already shown you footage of that. But I'm going to show you why the Lions would then do what they consider the most sensible thing you can do. Using different charts. All-Pro rate, linebacker. 87 linebackers from 1986 to 2010 have been drafted. 23 of them were All-Pros. That's a 26.4 rating. Safeties in the first round. 35 have been drafted. 9 have been All-Pros. That's a 25.7. Let's come down here to quarterbacks. 57 quarterbacks. 57 quarterbacks have been selected in the first round from 1986 to 2010. 3 were All-Pro, the lowest rate. Let's get to the next chart. Pro Bowl rate. This is where you're going to ask yourself, why is it so much of a difference? Pro Bowl rate for first-round picks took in the last 25-year sample. Notice how quarterbacks in the All-Pro category was the lowest rate. Let me go back up one. Receivers were about the 6th, 7th rate. So let's get down here. But in the Pro Bowl, 57 quarterbacks drafted, 24 to the Pro Bowl, 42.1%. Y'all may be saying, Luke, what the hell does this mean? It's showing you the dangers of it, right? Offensive tackles in the Pro Bowl rate is not high. See, this ain't the sexy pick. Bust rate. See, this is where it gets interesting. All right? Because at this point, we can't deny data. Bust rates among first-round picks within a 25-year sample, 1986 to 2010. And I've already showed you the 2010 up to 2021, with me excluding 2021 and 2020 because I said the jury is still out. But let's take a look. Bust rates, 57 of them drafted. 23 were bust, 40.4%. 40.4%. The riskiest thing you're going to ever take is a quarterback. And this is why I say if you draft a quarterback, it will set you back if you don't hit. You better make sure you hit. Okay? Wide receivers, 99 were drafted between 1986 and 2010. 30 were bust. That's a 30.3% bust rate. This right here is another indicator because running back at the highest, with 96 being drafted, 45 being bust, it got the highest bust rate because you know why? And it shows. If you go through the history, you don't see a lot of first-round running backs anymore because they were busting out so bad. But yet, the NFL keeps ignoring the data that has been presented for the quarterback position. Okay? And when you look at this, we just warming up on what this is. Let's keep going on to this bust rate. Cornerbacks, 91 of them from 1986 to 2010. 24 were a bust. That's a 26.4. Let's get down to offensive tackle. 84 offensive tackles. 84 offensive tackles were drafted from 1986 to 2010. Only 16 were a bust. 16. If I were to go by this rate, the safest pick you can get is a center. And we know this personally because we did this with Frank Ragnow. We've had no problems. Right? Safety, in terms of bust rate, would be the second best thing. But in the top 3 is offensive tackle. Tight end is another. And the thing about tight end that's intriguing is, if you just look at it, we have further proof that rarely happens. Now, quarterback, the position that most fan base want. Receiver, the position that my brother wanted. These have a dangerous bust rate. And when you're talking about a team who is making sensible, logical moves in this offseason, this goes against sensible, logical moves. I showed you an article where there was the odds. Okay? Right? Where they had the odds for us winning and what we gonna draft and stuff. And I said, why would the odds be so good on us taking the receiver? Vegas is not in business to lose money. Why would they do that? It's because they know that the average fan will fall in love with it. Okay. So this is the thing I'm looking at. I have always believed that they were trading that pick. And if they're not, I think they're going to go with the best player available for need. I have to be honest with y'all when I say this. The Lions are going to probably trade that pick. And when they trade that pick, they're going to go one or two positions. Linebacker. And if a certain player is not there, because I think they like Parsons, but if a certain player is not there, I think they trade back again, get more draft picks, and then I think they're going to actually then select a wide receiver or safety. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, the draft is next week, but I want y'all to keep in mind, the media now sees the sensible, logical moves the Lions are making. Sensible. So when you look at it, wait, hold on. What am I missing, Dr. Detroit? He says 12-1 is not better than 5-35. Are you talking about the bus rates? Is that what you're talking about? So yeah, let me see these stats. Let me see. Yeah, you gotta get the pick right. Again, thank y'all for the thoughts, the prayers, the energy. It is needed. It is felt. But like I said, I didn't want to do it, but I thought, man, he listened to every show. And so if it was a regular Monday, he would have been listening to the show and he'd have been mad that I didn't do it. Like, oh, come on, bro. So I'm doing it. Again, I appreciate it. So I'm looking at this bus rates from 2015. And then I went back and I had it all prepared differently, but I went back and I looked at from 2011 on up. at the quarterbacks. And I wanted to puke. I just wanted to puke. Because if you look at those first-round quarterbacks, you know, the Josh Rosens, the Dwayne Haskins, the even more intriguing part is most of those players that was drafted in that period aren't even on the same team no more. They're not even on the same team. Convert those percentages. Oh. Yeah, I didn't convert the things, man. Like I said, I looked at these numbers and I said, this is data from 2015. 2015, bro. I went through every draft because I know I did a video on it where I showed every draft with the receiver, which is really because my brother, who's like, man, they gotta take a receiver, man. They gotta get Chase or Waddles. And I'm like, the top receiver taken usually is not the best target. And so he's like, I don't care. I trust in those. So I ain't buying it. I just think that the information provided makes a lot of sense to me. Right? So you know, you got to be able to see it in a way that makes sense. If the Lions are making sensible, logical moves, and they're looking at the draft, they felt so compelled by it that they would then ask for Jared Goff in a trade where the original offer was 2 firsts and a third. They ante up and said, let me get Goff too. The history say that it's not going down like that. That it probably shouldn't be going down like that. So, again, I've had somebody say to me, well, Luke, why we can't just draft the guard and let Big V play right tackle? Go and watch my video. Go and watch my video where I literally showed you him against a good defense, the Bucks, and it wasn't just that game. I just gave you the game that gave me the most examples. Okay? So these little things that jump out that we don't want to see have always been there. Damn son said, we beating the shit out of this draft. We only got a couple more days. Next Thursday is going down. You know what I'm saying? Next Thursday is over. And I can't wait for it. It's funny because that's one of the things me and my brother talked about. I said, bro, I can't wait for this draft to be over with. He said, why? I said, because no matter what the Lions do, somebody's going to be happy and somebody's going to be upset. No matter what they do. The Lions go out and draft a cheerleader. Is somebody happy? Whether it's her family or something and a bunch of other people upset. The difference is I'm just looking at it like this. What lines up with what has been acknowledged and seen by mainstream media for the first time, which is the sensible, smart, logical moves. You go out and you draft a quarterback who's going to sit for 2 years, who only had 1 year of experience, and it don't work. How far is your franchise setback? You go out, you draft a wide receiver, and he don't pan out. Because, see, here's the part of it. It's not just that they're going to suck. It's a chance that they can get hurt. Kyle Webb said, are you doing a draft watch party? I sure am. Yep, sure am. We got to talk about it. It's only right for us to talk about it. But again, keep in mind, this is about making sure that we make sensible moves. Now, you in the chat, tell me. You sitting up there, you're the Detroit Lions. I'm going to give you 5 players on the board. You can have any pick that you want. any pick. I'm not even going to shoot you down for it. You want to take quarterback, not going to kill you for it. But you can have any pick. Here's your options. Trey Lance, Fields, Pitts, Jamar Chase, Sewell. I'm going to throw a wild card in there. Parsons. Who are you selecting if you're the Detroit Lions and you're stuck at 7? You cannot trade out of the pick. That's not an option. Them your 5 players. Who are you drafting as a fan base? You the general manager. You got Pitts, Chase, 2 quarterbacks, and Lance and Fields. Who are you taking? I see Sewell. I see Pitts. I see Fields. I see Fields. I want to know who you taking. I see Sewell. Sewell coming in again. Sewell all day. Because keep in mind, the Lions are making smart, sensible, logical moves. They just are. So, no matter who we take, we got to figure out what's the logical, sensible move. Now, once you put your call in for it, ask yourself this question next. Here's the next question. If you were using this chart as a way of looking at history, is your pick more riskier than everybody else's? If you wanted the quarterback, the bust rate is about a 40.4% chance. Almost 50% chance. If you said you wanted the tight end or wide receiver, you got about a 21.4% chance of it being a bust. Wide receivers, 30.33. And if you said the offensive tackle, you got a 19% chance of it being a bust. If I'm doing the sensible, smart, logical move, offensive tackle is where it's at. That's where it's at. We're just going by sensible. Now that we got the sensible part of the way, here's the last part of the equation. How does the person that you said that the Lions should draft this year help the Lions win this year, next year, and the year after? And now, once you think about that, then tell me, would you change your pick and who are you changing it to? See, for me, the answer is clear. I'm taking the offensive line help. That 19%, I can live with that. I got a better chance of my guy being a success than him being a bust. There's no way of getting around it. There's no way of getting around it. Steve-O says, I will take Sewell and trade Dacker in a couple of seasons, move Sewell to left tackle, and get a first or second round pick. Makes sense. Not a bad option to have. If Slater and Sewell there, I'm taking Slater. Makes sense. Especially for what they want to do. I said Pitts, and I'm a big Trey Lance fan just to point it out. I'm with you. Fields would be cool if this regime found their guy. Okay. Let's see. Did anybody change theirs? No? All right. Today's show gonna be a little bit short. Because like I said, I'm trying to do it with a heavy heart. And I wanted to do something that I know I would have been arguing with my brother about. I think he did it on purpose, to be honest with you, because he was older. So I think he just figured I'm gonna disagree with this little young ass because he the little brother and I know best. In fact, I think he said it to me a few times. But 9 times out of 10, I was right. He said he really was like, man, I'm telling you, we got the right coach in Patricia. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then that Jack game happened, and I was like, oh, no, we didn't get the right coach. And he's like, no, give it a little bit more time. And the season ended, and I'm like, 6 wins. He's like, yeah, they're gonna build up off. I said, bro, we just went from 9-7. We lost 3 more games than we. Okay. So today's positive quote comes from me because I think that it's important to always end something on a positive note. Do not live life in regret. I'm thankful that I don't have to have any regrets in my loss because whatever needed to be said was always said. Okay. I think what we find ourselves doing is too often we are living in regret. Not saying the things that we wanted to say to people because it's either going to be too awkward or too strange. You can send it in a text message. You can write it down on a piece of paper and mail it. You know, that thing still works. That's why we have a postal service, right? But what you have to do is make sure that you do not leave anything left unsaid. What you have to do is make sure that any conversations that you have, make sure that they have meaning. Make sure they have a reason. There's somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time because you was mad about something so small that probably wasn't going to matter in 5 minutes, but yet you let it matter for 5 years. And it might be time for you to have a conversation. My brother was 100% healthy. No ailments. He wasn't murdered. He just didn't wake up. It's time that we start having the hard conversations. Telling people I love you. I miss you. How proud I am of you. It's time we laugh more. It's time that we get more caught up in the views of disagreement. More thankful that you don't have a person who's willing to sit there and just agree with you for the sake of it. And have a talk that leaves you with no regret, no remorse, and no words left unspoken or said. And as much as it sucks, I guarantee you he probably laughing at me crying. Because he's that kind of person. Toughen it up, he will say. Good people, I appreciate y'all for joining me. It wasn't my usual show. I don't usually come on here looking for accolades. Y'all never hear me talk about my birthday or nothing. I'm about the other person. I celebrate everyone else, and there's a reason for it. I learned a long time ago that you will find more joy in celebrating others than you ever will in self-indulgence. So today, if you haven't talked to somebody, maybe you have talked to them, maybe everything was cool, just call and check on them. Call and see how they doing. Just send a text message. Ask them if they are okay. And when they respond back, just take a second to sit in silence and take in the fact that you can actually hear that breath that they're taking. And remember how blessed you are. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on my show. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research. I'm out.